it's Lauren Tickner and welcome to part 2. In the last part, we spoke about what you need to run a business that can continue to operate without you. And in this part, I'm going to show you all the systems that are required to do exactly that. Now, you may be questioning this, thinking that it feels so far off from where you are right now. It may feel like a distant dream. You may even be wondering, is this something that I even want? Am I truly capable of this? Is this possible for me? Maybe you're thinking you already know all of this and you've tried it all before. But I want to tell you that this is different, and the only reason you're feeling this right now is because you don't have the secret that I'm going to share with you in this video. And this secret is something that I learned after my podcast was hacked and after I invested more than $170,000 in coaching programs, agencies, and trying to figure this all out for myself. You see, none of it seemed to work for me. It seemed like I just kept spending money and everything that I was investing in just kept going into oblivion. I didn't understand what was so wrong with my business that caused nothing to work for me. Why was I so different? And after I got off the plane flying from New York to London, feeling relaxed and re-energized, more so than I had done in years, I got into a taxi to head back home, ready to confront whatever was to come business-wise. And the sky was grey and it was pouring with rain. So while driving back home, I ended up being the UK, I ended up in a traffic jam on the motorway. And I looked at the sat-nav and it said that I was going to be stuck in that traffic incident for 4 hours. So again, I did what any entrepreneur would do at that moment, and I grabbed my laptop, I turned on my personal hotspot, and I got to work. The chaos that I encountered while I was in that taxi was a perfect parallel to everything that I had been avoiding on my short 48-hour trip in New York. Why oh why could I not leave my business for more than 2 hours without everything coming crumbling down? My Facebook ad account had been shut down, banned for life. 3 clients had asked for refunds because I had not replied to them in that time period. 7 people in my DMs said that they ended up signing up with other companies because I didn't get back to them quickly enough. And it seemed like pretty much every single virtual employee that I had working for me at the time had done absolutely nothing while I was away. And I still had all the problems from the other day that I needed to solve. I had no idea how to solve any of these issues and I had no one to help me, so back to the guesswork it was. I was so fed up of doing it all alone that I just thought I might as well just give half of my company to someone else so that they can figure out all of that for me and I can just do the marketing because that's the part that I like. But there was one small glimmer of hope. I had this one girl who was doing some lead generation and social media work for me. Now, she had sent me a few messages while I was away asking if I was okay, and I, of course, wasn't replying back to her, and she was pretty confused about where I was because it was so out of my character not to be working 24/7. And within her area, she really had no idea what to do while I wasn't there. So she decided to build out an entire posting schedule and tracking process to make sure that the right thing was going out on the right platform at the right time with the right call to action and getting distributed in all the right places. And it seemed that 2 of the posts had gone viral while I was away, increasing my follower account by more than 5,000 and bringing in dozens of hot leads into my DMs. I asked her how she got those results, and she told me that she invested in a business systems course a couple of years back, and she was frequently being contracted by big companies to build out automation on their behalf. I was amazed and I asked her, why did she come and work for me when she could make so much more money working at these big companies who would pay her so much for all of this automation? And she said that the reason why she wanted to be with me was because she loved the fact that my business was focused on helping people and that she saw that the real opportunity was here. But she was surprised how messy and disorganized things were on the inside. So she built this entire social media process which allowed all of my accounts to run without me. And she asked me if I would be willing. It would only take 5 hours of my time per month to get all the content that we needed for every single one of the platforms, with all of the captions to be written, scheduled, distributed, and ready to go live. I was pretty hesitant at first because my social media is pretty much me and my personal brand, but I decided to give it a go. After all, I needed some support and this literally seemed like the one thing that could actually get me back some of my time. So she sent me scripts of what to film, she told me the exact call to action to use, and she set up all the automations on the back end so that when someone took that action there would be something for them to go to. She edited all the videos and scheduled them, and even turned one longer video into 7 shorter ones to last an entire week across all social platforms. She distributed the content to get it in front of people and flooded my DMs with so many leads that I couldn't even keep up. And as soon as I saw this working, it felt like magic. 1 hour of hard work today created hundreds of hours of freedom in the future. But not just freedom, also reliable results that worked again and again. And that's when I was sold on systems. By now, I was generating a high 6 figures per year in my business with all this information in my head, but I just kept getting stuck. I knew that to get to the next level, to have a really sustainable $1 million business, I needed structure and stability. By now I believed in systems, so I decided to do some research, and I read anything and everything I could to do with systems, processes, and automation. I looked for more traits, similarities, and I built out maps and procedures to get to the bottom of it once and for all. I saw myself as a scientist in the lab, looking for clues as to how to do this at scale for real. And that's when I came up with a systems map for every area in my business, from finding new leads to onboarding new clients to upselling and getting referrals and everything in between. The problem was that I didn't understand how this could all be used and implemented. It felt like nothing but a dream. I could see it in my mind so clearly, but how could it actually get done? I mean, if I couldn't even stick to my own calendar schedule, how could I build an entire series of systems all working together to run my business without me? And that was the moment that I realized that I had 2 choices. Either I could continue to live in chaos and overwhelm, getting some success, but knowing that I was leaving so much on the table. Or I could step into the unknown and finally get myself out of the day-to-day, so I'd have my time back and be able to reach so many more people. So I said to myself, okay Lauren, if you really want this business to run without you, if you really want this to run if you got hit by a bus, you need to realize that you can survive in chaos, but your company cannot. And everyone who was joining my Facebook groups, everyone that I was meeting at events, everyone who was signing up to any of the live trainings that I was doing, everyone who was commenting on my posts, what if we built a system to handle all of them too, so that none of them would be forgotten and all of them could be turned into potential clients? And what if that system could run without me? My entire mindset had shifted since I had seen what she had done on social media. This finally became real for me. I finally believed this was possible. I knew that systematizing everything was my ticket to bringing in revenue without needing me. And I knew that it was going to be uncomfortable. But I had to ask myself, what's more uncomfortable? 6 months of hard work now, or a lifetime of living below my potential? So I went on a quest to find the world's greatest in each of the individual areas of business. I asked them to share their systems and processes with me. I read books, I hired experts, and I spent thousands on fully immersing myself. And I began innovating. I totally streamlined my way of bringing in new clients. It became like clockwork to the point I knew that I could go off the grid for an entire week without posting or making new content, and I'd still have dozens of new hot leads coming in organically wanting to work with me without running a single ad. From there, I knew that I didn't want to be taking sales calls. There was no way I'd have enough time for all these prospects. And I was so sick of hearing people say I need to think about it, because I only wanted to work with people that wanted to work with me. So I refined my money-making messaging method to be able to convert sales in the DMs, knowing that as soon as I closed a new client, they'd get an e-sign sent to them on automation, and once they'd signed that, they'd move into a client tracking database where I could make sure that they'd get a welcome call, where I could track their payments and where I could see any notes about them, and that they'd get everything they needed to start getting results and feel cared for sent to them automatically. And remember that client I had to refund because my virtual assistant had not sent the login information properly? Well, I now had this entire system to automate his onboarding, plus a checklist for my VAs to ensure that no stone was left unturned. And then once that was sorted, I needed to make sure that I could consistently get client results. So I came up with the Impact Offer Framework, which I've now been invited to speak at dozens of events and workshops about, including a few $50,000 masterminds where everyone in the room has 7, 8, and 9-figure businesses. This system ensures that you get your time back while serving your clients and ensuring that they always get an amazing result while bringing in referrals on your behalf. And this was a key part of my retention system, which ensured that I made more per customer and got referrals from them. And then whenever they reached their initial outcome that they had signed up for, they had somewhere else to go, which would allow me to generate more revenue per customer and to get them better results. And I also built a system so that if they didn't want to stay on as a client, I had an offboarding flow which would nurture them for a while and continue to make client-only offers for a few months before putting them back in my marketing CRM. This one system alone has since ended up generating me millions in profit. After months of innovating, implementing, investing, and building this out, I realized, wow, I can finally get my time back. I can finally rely on systems to run my business. And my clients were getting great results and everything was growing, but it all still required a lot of me. After all, I was the one that had figured out all these systems and spoken to everyone to get it all done. And then I heard this amazing quote, and it said, "Let systems run the business and let people run those systems." And now that is my business philosophy. So in the next video, I'm gonna show you how you can do exactly that. How I was able to build my team to 27 people ranging across 10 different time zones, and how you can build your team too in a way that is totally seamless, stress-free, and totally in alignment with serving your clients. So I'll see you there.